Welcome to Loom Knit Lab. Today we are going to demonstrate how to knit the Last Minute Slouchy Hat. We are going to be using the all-in-one knitting loom by the Authentic Knitting Board Company. We're also going to be using a worsted weight yarn. In my sample I am going to be using the Noro Korean. Again, it is worsted weight and we're going to need a knitting tool. To begin, we're going to set up our knitting loom. We're going to need 80 pegs to complete this project. So you are going to use one of the sliders on one of the corners, stationary, so nice and tight. And on the other one, on the other side, you're going to simply slide it down until you have 80 pegs. I already over here have my 80 pegs. I have 35 on one of the long rails, 35 on the opposite long rail, and then I have 5 from the short sliders on each end. I will show you how you can slide your slider so that you can have the desired number of pegs. To move the slider, all you need to do is loosen the ball, that wing nut on one end. When you do this, the loom comes apart. And now you're able to move your slider up and down to any number of pegs that you need. Again, for this project we're going to need 80 pegs. So simply count 35 on each of the long rails for 70, and then each of the each of the sliders gives you 5 pegs. So that's with the 2 sliders is an extra 10 pegs. So once you have found the position for the 80 pegs, align your slider with the side long rails. And then simply tighten the wing nut at the end, and you are ready to begin knitting. Perfect, nice and snug. I recommend for this project to have a stitch marker that's removable. This one right here looks like a little safety pin. It is a little safety pin, but it's made out of plastic, and you can usually find it at the craft stores. It is made by Clover. If you don't have one of these, you can use anything from a piece of scrap yarn made into a little circle to a bobby pin, anything really that you can put on your pegs and that you can easily remove. Okay, let's get started. We are going to cast on 80 stitches. So find the beginning tail of your working yarn. Make a slip knot. Once you have your slip knot, place it on your first peg. I like to place my first peg right at one of the corners, like that it's easy for me to see where it begins and easy for me to remember where to start it. So right here, to cast on, I'm simply going to use the E-wrap cast on, and you already know how to E-wrap. Simply go counterclockwise around each of the pegs. And you do this all the way around the knitting loom. So go ahead and finish casting on the 80 pegs. I want to show you how to do this slider in the center. So I have reached my slider. I am going to move my knitting loom, and then perfect, and I go down the other direction. I've reached the other slider. Perfect. I am back to my first peg, and the pattern calls to knit 2, purl 2. And this will create the ribbon on your hat. This part at the bottom right there, that's knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2. And we're gonna do that. I'm gonna demonstrate how to do the knit 2. So I simply lay my yarn on top. Go ahead and knit 2. That's the, not to get you confused, that's the beginning tail from that slip knot. And then we do another knit. So that's knit 2. Now it's a purl 2. And we repeat those 4 stitches all the way around. So now I'm going to knit 2, purl 2, and continue all the way around the knitting loom. So over here we're approaching the corner, and I have a knit. Then we have a purl. Then we have one more purl. This will be in the inside of the slider. I just want to demonstrate how I knit in the corner of the slider. So insert your tool, or your knitting tool. Perfect, so that was 2 purls. Now we have 2 knits. Knit, one more knit, then we have 2 purls, more, perfect. We just did the 2 purls. Now we're gonna turn the loom around, and now we have 2 knits, and continue in this pattern, 2 knits, 2 purls all the way around the knitting loom. And that's for the first row of the Last Minute Slouchy Hat. Again, this is creating your ribbon area. Okay, let's finish the row. I have completed row number 1. For the next rows, the pattern says to do row 1 again. We're gonna repeat it 7 more times for a total of 8 rows. And this is going to be the brim of our hat. This section right here. All the ribbon. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do another 7 rows of the same thing that we just barely did, of knit 2, purl 2, all the way around the knitting loom. So for part 1, we're supposed to complete 8 rounds of the knit 2, purl 2, and over here I have completed those 8 rounds, and we're ready for part 2 of the video.